wanted to mention to you all that we have a new book release from Just and Sinner Publications. We're going to be doing something over the next 4 weeks where we release one book per week in various different series. So I want to announce the release of Revere Franklin Weidner's Studies in the Book Genesis. And if you're not familiar with Weidner, we have a lot of material on him. We recently did a podcast discussion on his biblical theology of the Old Testament. So Revere Franklin Weidner, if you're not familiar with him, was a Lutheran theologian in the late 19th and into the early 20th century. And this particular work is part of a series that is called Studies in the Book. Now, these are basically, they were outlines to be used for students, college students, seminary students who were studying various books of Scripture. And he has them on various books in the New Testament, and this is the first of the volumes of the Old Testament. He planned on writing a bunch of these, but didn't necessarily get around to finishing them. But nonetheless, we do have this book on Genesis. Now, just to commend it to you and give you information about what the book is it's not really a commentary on Genesis. It doesn't go verse by verse in that thorough of a sense. But what it does is outlines where the scholarship is or was in the 19th century on the book of Genesis, debates about the meaning of the text, the purpose of the text, and then he goes through just basically major themes in the book of Genesis, spending the majority of time in Genesis 1 through 11, but then also doing an overview of sections after that as well. So he goes through a lot of the divisions literarily within Genesis, some of the major concepts, the theology that is in the book of Genesis. Now, there are a couple things that I think are really great about this particular work. The one is the introductory couple chapters are, I think, the highlight of the book, which are not really just an exposition of Genesis, but what he does is spends time outlining what are the two different views within scholarship. And even though he's writing at the end of the 19th century, where scholarship is today in the Old Testament is really largely in the same place, in that the basic assumptions of the higher critics remain what they were at the time. There certainly have been shifts in terms of what documents were written when and how many documents there were and how they were compiled and things like that. But what Weidner does is he outlines what he calls the analytic or the critical method of interpreting Genesis, but not just Genesis. He deals with the entire Pentateuch. And that methodology is looking at the text as a text that was just the product of natural, religious, or human development. And he contrasts that with the classical Christian view, which he is defending that this is a revelation of God. So he has a whole chapter on the Pentateuch and the origin of the Pentateuch and debates surrounding that. So it really is a great overview if you want to have an understanding of where those who are critics of Scripture are coming from, as those basic assumptions have not really shifted. And he provides an answer to those claims and those criticisms in that section, but also throughout the rest of the work. So that really is a highlight, but also Weidner is very practical in what he does. He's always looking to give practical application to say, what does this matter? What does this matter for the church today? He was also a pastor, and you see that pastoral heart there in all of the work that he does as well. So if you want to pick up a copy of this or the other volumes in our complete works of Revere Franklin Weidner series, and we'll be continuing to release them, because it is not yet his complete works, but that is the goal, that all of the works that he wrote that were available will be published, even possibly some that were not published in the past. I know there are notes that he has somewhere, and I've been trying to get a hold of them and have not yet had the chance to be able to track them down. But I will continue to call old theological libraries and schools that he worked at, and maybe someday find records of some other things that had not yet been published. But at least for now, we're putting out the works that had been previously published by Weidner, and I highly recommend this one to you. So go to jspublishing.org and you can purchase your copy under the Weidner's Works section of the site. So thanks so much, and stay tuned for future updates about new releases in the next few weeks. God bless.